The president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, says trust is firmly undermined and it's bad for business. She joined me here earlier and told me she's not surprised by some of Donald Trump's recent threats.
Well, it's a movie we've seen before, and what is, I think, more important than the tariff themselves is the rising uncertainty that we are seeing again. So uncertainty is back, and I think it's really very inconvenient for both corporate America, SMEs in America, and the same in Europe, because people then don't exactly know how they're going to sell, how they're going to buy, who is going to bear the burden of tariffs. So to have these economies that are doing well at the moment, or reasonably well, stall because of uncertainty is really inconvenient.
That uncertainty coming just at a time when things were starting to settle down.
Yep.
Monetary policy was becoming slightly more predictable in a sense of direction.
Very predictable, 2% inflation, 2% interest rate here in Europe. Yeah.
But the point being that we now have been thrown into the maelstrom again, because it's not just tariffs, it's the whole future of the transatlantic alliance, the whole future of transatlantic business.
And what people need to know is that that business is huge. It's huge in terms of trade of goods and services. It's big in terms of investment. It's big in terms of security and bond holdings. So the intricacy of this link between the US and Europe is very deep. And to jeopardize that, to put it into question, is not conducive to good business policies. And I think corporate America should be thinking about it, as European corporate is thinking about it.
But I guess the issue, talking here, everybody seems to think it's just sort of going to go away. Everybody seems to think it's not a game, but it's people are playing out their roles. And what I question is whether something has fundamentally changed. There's no going back. The trust has gone.
I think the trust is undermined. When you keep repeating the same pattern of undermining the rule of law, undermining the contracts, undermining what has been agreed between parties, then parties begin questioning, is that for real? Is that going to change again? And that's when uncertainty looms large.
You were the one who warned about the second Donald Trump administration. You were the one who actually said to Europe, you need to be prepared. This is going to be different and you need to be ready. You've been vindicated.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something which I hope will be proven right next year. This is a wake-up call, a bigger one than we ever had. And I think that Europe is going to look at its strength, look at its weaknesses, do a big SWOT analysis and decide what do we need to do to be strong by ourselves, to be more independent, to rely on the internal trade that we do with each other so that we can just not ignore, but at least be prepared and have a plan B, just in case the normal relationship is not restored.
Okay, does Europe have the capacity to do it? It certainly could do it, but the reality is the mechanisms of European decision-making are so difficult at a time of crisis.
The mechanisms are laborious. I wouldn't call them difficult, because at the end of the day, it works, but it takes a lot longer than what it does in the US. We don't have executive orders in this country, in this region at large. But eventually, we find the means and the ways to circumvent adversity, and I know that we will. If you look, for instance, at the single market, we are pushing and have been pushing and advocating for capital market union. We have been pushing and advocating for this 28th regime where people will be able to invest without the burden and the bureaucracy that exists otherwise. This is happening. 2026 will see significant proposals on the table, and I think that what's happening now is going to give a big accelerator to this movement.